Picture this. 2 summers ago, you spent real money and real time building what should have been a butterfly garden. You researched the plants, you amended the soil, you watered through a drought. You did everything the internet said, and then you sat in that lawn chair every evening waiting. Nothing came. Meanwhile, your neighbor, the one who hasn't touched her backyard since her kids moved out, has swallowtails on her fence post every morning before coffee. She planted something unremarkable along her fence years ago and forgot about it. She doesn't even know what it's called. Butterflies found it anyway. That is going to haunt you. Here is what I finally understood after 2 seasons of total failure. 0 swallowtails, 0 monarchs, beautiful flowers, 0 results. The problem was never the effort. Butterflies do not respond to beautiful gardens. They respond to chemistry, to biology. They need specific nectar compounds their bodies can process and specific leaves their caterpillars can actually eat. Plant the wrong thing and they pass you by, no matter the effort. Plant the right thing and they arrive before the trowel is back in the shed. Today we are covering 17 perennials, all low maintenance, all chosen for people with real schedules and limited time. And the plant at number 1? It is the sole host plant for one of North America's rarest butterfly species, and it thrives in the spots most gardeners have already abandoned. You may already have the perfect place for it. You just don't know it yet. Let's count down. Number 17 is spicebush. Most gardeners walk right past this one at the nursery. No dramatic blooms, nothing commanding a second glance. That is exactly why you should stop and grab one. Spicebush is the reliable, unpretentious friend who works quietly and never asks for credit. A native shrub naturalizing in part shade to full shade, spaces where most flowering plants simply quit. The spicebush swallowtail butterfly requires this plant to complete its life cycle. Females search it out specifically to lay their eggs. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, self-sufficient once established. Your forgotten corner just became a valuable habitat. Number 16 is wild blue lupin. Wild blue lupin is not the delicate showpiece most gardeners treat it as. It was built for poor, sandy soil, the dry, lean ground that defeats most perennials by midsummer. Enrich it and it sulks. Give it sand and sun, and it blooms with real intensity. The Carner blue butterfly, currently federally endangered, depends on wild blue lupin as its sole larval host plant. One plant, one species on the edge. Planting this in your yard is active conservation, not just gardening. It blooms May through June, hardy through zone 3. Your dry, underperforming patch finally has a purpose. Number 15 is wild senna. Wild senna looks like it belongs in a curated border, which is slightly misleading. This plant grows 4 to 6 feet tall, produces bright yellow blooms from midsummer into fall, and handles wet soil, clay, and part shade without complaint. Cloudless sulfurs and sleepy oranges, butterfly species most gardeners never attract, use wild senna as a larval host. You will start seeing visitors that were never on your radar. It fills the midsummer lull most butterfly gardens hit in July. Deer resistant, zones 4 through 9. Your soggy low spot just became productive. Number 14 is foxglove penstemon. Foxglove penstemon knows exactly what it's worth and doesn't feel the need to announce it. Slender stems, tubular flowers, a quietly refined presence that rewards whoever pays attention. Most gardeners assume penstemons are difficult. Foxglove penstemon is not. It prefers dry to medium well-drained soil, handles full sun to light shade, and returns reliably in zones 4 through 8. Painted ladies and fritillaries work those tubular flowers with focused efficiency. Blooms late spring into early summer, bridging the gap when gardens need it most. 2 to 3 feet tall, no deadheading required. Your well-drained border just got interesting. Number 13 is Dutchman's pipe. Dutchman's pipe stops most gardeners cold because the flowers look like something from another dimension. Curved, pipe-shaped, almost theatrical. That strangeness is not decorative. It's a sophisticated pollination mechanism millions of years in development. This native vine covers vertical space fast, 10 to 15 feet per season. That fence you haven't repaired, the arbor you keep putting off. Part shade, zones 5 through 8. It is the sole host plant for the pipevine swallowtail. No Dutchman's pipe, no pipevine swallowtails. The relationship is absolute. You are not hiding an eyesore. You are building a nursery. Number 12 is anise hyssop. Anise hyssop shouldn't perform as well as it does. It smells like licorice, grows to 4 feet, blooms in lavender purple spikes, and quietly outperforms plants twice its size. The overachiever who never seems to try. It's technically short-lived, 3 to 5 years, but it self-seeds reliably and functions as a permanent resident. You plant it once, it blooms midsummer through early fall, exactly when most butterfly gardens lose momentum. Eastern tiger swallowtails, black swallowtails, painted ladies, and skippers all work it heavily. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. Drought tolerant. August finally has a reason to stay interesting. Number 11 is blue vervain. Most gardeners have walked right past blue vervain 100 times, along roadsides, through meadows, and never once thought to bring it home. That changes today. It produces intensely violet flowers along slender spikes, blooming in sequence over several weeks. That stretches the window from midsummer well into fall. Multiple butterfly species work those blooms heavily, and the seeds that follow feed sparrows and finches through winter. It thrives in wet soil, rain gardens, pond edges, that low spot that collects water after every storm. Hardy in zones 3 through 8, 3 to 5 feet tall. Your wet corner finally has a reason to exist. Number 10 is ironweed. Most gardeners hear weed in the name and walk straight past it. That is a mistake you are about to fix. Ironweed earns its name from tough, wiry stems, not from being unwanted. This is a plant that stands taller than you, 5 to 7 feet, and refuses to fall over, flop, or need staking, even in wind and storms. It is the stubborn, unbothered friend who shows up looking sharp without ever trying. Deep magenta purple blooms appear in late summer, exactly when most gardens are running out of steam. Monarchs, swallowtails, and a long list of native bees treat it like a refueling station. Hardy in zones 5 through 9. Thrives in average to wet soil and asks for nothing once it's settled in. That damp spot near the back fence finally earns its keep. Number 9 is New England aster. New England aster waits all season to make its move, and that patience is the entire point. While other perennials peak and fade by July, this one is just getting started. Clusters of purple-blue flowers with golden centers open in September and October, right as the air turns crisp. It is the closer, the one who shows up late and steals the show anyway. Monarchs migrating south depend on asters as one of the last reliable nectar sources before their long journey. Without late bloomers like this one, migration odds drop. Hardy in zones 4 through 8, reaching 3 to 6 feet tall. Your garden's final act just got its star. Number 8 is passion flower. Passion flower looks like it was designed by someone showing off. Intricate, almost alien blooms, fringed and layered in purple and white. Most gardeners assume something this dramatic must be high maintenance. It is the opposite. This vine is an aggressive, fast-spreading grower that thrives on neglect, climbing trellises, fences, and mailboxes with zero coaxing. It is a host plant for the Gulf fritillary and variegated fritillary, butterflies that will not lay a single egg without it nearby. Hardy in zones 6 through 9, though many gardeners further north grow it as a vigorous annual. Blooms repeat all summer long. That blank trellis you've been meaning to deal with just solved itself. Number 7 is goldenrod. Goldenrod has been blamed for allergies it never caused. That's ragweed, blooming at the same time with pollen that actually travels. Goldenrod's pollen is heavy and sticky, built for insects, not wind. It's been wrongly accused for decades. Once you let that go, what's left is one of the hardest working native plants available. Bright yellow plumes arrive in late summer and run through fall, supporting over 100 species of butterflies and moths, plus migrating monarchs stocking up before their journey south. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, tolerates poor soil, drought, and total abandonment. The patch you gave up on is about to become the busiest corner of the yard. Here's something I want to say directly because it connects to everything on this list. You've now heard about 10 plants that keep butterflies coming back across spring, summer, and fall. But there's a bigger idea underneath all of it. A garden only becomes truly alive year-round when you stop thinking plant by plant and start thinking in systems. When bloom time, harvest time, and rest time all connect instead of existing as separate guesses. Most gardeners never make that shift, and it costs them months of food and beauty every single year. I know because I lost those months myself. For years, I had empty beds by October. I'd watch my garden shut down in August while half the growing season was still sitting right there, unused. I searched everywhere for a complete system. Videos gave me fragments. Blog posts gave me pieces. Nobody handed me the whole picture in one place. I wish someone had put it in front of me years earlier. Not another list of tips, but an actual blueprint. That's what the year-round harvest blueprint is. Picture your garden never going quiet, something arriving in January, something ready to harvest in November. No empty beds staring back at you in October. No guessing whether you missed a planting window because you'll already know. And gardeners who have used this approach say the difference is hard to ignore. One gardener told me, "For years I felt like I was starting over every spring. I planted things I loved, but I never had a clear plan for what came next. This helped me understand how everything connects." Another said, "My garden always looked amazing in the beginning of the season, then slowly faded away by late summer. Learning how to plan ahead completely changed that. Now I actually know what should be happening throughout the year." And another gardener shared, "I used to collect random tips from everywhere, but I still felt like something was missing. Having a complete system finally gave me the confidence to know when to plant, what to grow, and how to keep my garden productive longer." The current price on this won't be around much longer. Like a growing season, the window on this offer is limited too. I'll drop the link below in the description and pin comments if you want to see what's inside. But there are 4 plants left on this list, and the top 3 are the ones I wish someone had handed me on the very first day I ever tried to build a butterfly garden. Number 6 is Joe Pieweed. Joe Pieweed gets dismissed as a weed by name alone, the same unfair treatment ironweed gets. In reality, this is one of the most dramatic native perennials you can grow, reaching 6 to 7 feet with dusty mauve-pink flower clusters the size of dinner plates. It is the gentle giant, enormous presence, zero demands. Planted in moist soil, part sun to full sun, and step back. Swallowtails, monarchs, and dozens of native bee species treat it as a primary nectar source through mid to late summer. Hardy in zones 4 through 9. That awkward back-of-the-border gap just found its centerpiece. Number 5 is Black-Eyed Susan. Black-Eyed Susan is the plant everyone already knows, which is exactly why it gets overlooked for being too common. Familiarity is not a flaw. It's evidence the plant works. Cheerful, golden, endlessly reliable. It self-seeds, tolerates poor soil, and blooms from June through September with almost no input from you. Painted ladies, silvery checker spots, and countless bees rely on it as a steady summer staple. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Sometimes the obvious answer was the right one all along. Number 4 is sedum, also called stonecrop. Sedum looks like it belongs in a desert, not a butterfly garden, and that's exactly why most people skip it. Thick, succulent leaves store water, which means drought, heat, and total neglect barely register. It is the low-maintenance final guest, blooming in dusty pink-to-rust clusters from late summer into fall, right when nectar sources elsewhere are thinning out. Monarchs and painted ladies depend on it for one last refuel before colder weather arrives. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. 4 plants down, 3 left. And the next one might be the most important plant on this entire list. Number 3 is wild bergamot. You'd assume the showiest bloomer on this list would also be the fussiest. Wild bergamot breaks that rule completely. Lavender pink flowers, shaggy and almost wild looking, like a firework caught mid-explosion. The kind of plant that looks high maintenance and is anything but. It is the magnetic one, the plant that draws every pollinator in the area without asking for attention in return. Powdery mildew gives it a bad reputation, but plant it with good airflow and that concern mostly disappears. What stays is a long, steady bloom from July into September, drawing swallowtails, painted ladies, and clouds of native bees and hummingbird moths alongside them. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Deer and rabbits leave it alone, which on its own should move it up your list. That sunny strip you've been ignoring near the driveway just found its purpose. Number 2 is purple coneflower. You already know this plant. That familiarity has made you underestimate it, and that is exactly the mistake worth correcting today. Echinacea is the dependable one, the friend who never cancels, never complains, and somehow looks good in a drought. Spiky orange centers ringed by drooping purple-pink petals, blooming from June clear through September with almost no input from you. But its real second act happens after the petals fade. Leave the seed heads standing through fall and winter, and goldfinches will work them for months. Hardy in zones 3 through 9, thriving in poor, dry soil where richer plants struggle. It feeds swallowtails and painted ladies all summer, then quietly switches jobs and feeds birds all winter. 2 seasons of usefulness from one planting you'll mostly forget about. You are one step away from the plant this entire video was built around. Take a breath here because this next one matters. Somewhere in your yard right now, there is a spot you've given up on. Too shaded, too awkward, too close to the fence line or the downspout or whatever structure made you decide nothing would ever grow there. You've probably stopped seeing it as a possibility at all. It's just background now. I want you to hold that spot in your mind for a second, because the plant I'm about to tell you about may have been waiting for exactly that location the entire time. There is a butterfly in North America that almost nobody has seen in person. Not because it's shy, because the plant it depends on has quietly disappeared from most modern yards, taking the butterfly along with it. This species cannot lay eggs anywhere else, not on a flower, not on a vine, not on anything else covered today. One plant, full stop, or the butterfly does not exist in your yard at all. Number 1 is common pawpaw. The zebra swallowtail is one of the most striking butterflies on this continent. Pale, almost translucent wings slashed with bold black stripes, trailing long swallowtail points unlike anything else in North American skies. And it is entirely, permanently dependent on pawpaw. No pawpaw, no zebra swallowtails. There is no substitute, no backup plant, no workaround. That dependency is absolute. And it's the reason most people never get to see this butterfly at all. Pawpaw thrives in the understory, in part shade, in those forgotten edges where taller trees block the sun and nothing else seems to want to grow. The exact spot you wrote off years ago might be precisely what this tree has been waiting for. But here's the part almost nobody tells you. The detail that turns this from a good plant into a genuinely remarkable one. Pawpaw produces fruit. Real, edible, custard-textured fruit, often described as tasting like mango crossed with banana, unlike anything else native to North American soil. One low-maintenance tree, two completely unrelated rewards, a rare butterfly that exists nowhere else, and a tropical tasting fruit growing quietly in your own backyard. You will tell someone about this tree this week. I'd put money on it. Here's the thing about everything we just walked through. None of these 17 plants succeed because of effort, and none of them were expensive insurance policies against a quiet yard. They succeed because of selection. Each one does work you were never going to have time for, feeding caterpillars, feeding birds, holding soil, returning year after year without a single reminder from you. The gardens that look effortless were never effortless. They were simply built around plants willing to cooperate with a real, busy, imperfect life. That's the thread running through this entire list. So don't plant all 17. Choose one, the one that matches the corner you've already given up on. Plant it, let it settle in, then wait. There's something quietly satisfying about building a space for a creature that owes you nothing and watching it show up anyway. Not because you worked for it every day, because you chose well once and then let it keep working long after you stop thinking about it at all.